Hello, everyone, and welcome to this panel.
Here we
We
are.
have here with us
Hey, hey.
two Ionuts. So one is solo, which many of you already know. Taewon, all the way from North Carolina, and me, Dan, from Bucharest. Um, Welcome everyone, and again, thanks to Ubisoft, our sponsor. I don't know how many of you know, but Ubisoft was the first studio to ever come to Bucharest, and to start this chain reaction of Ubisoft and Gameloft and EA and all that, and kickstarted the industry here. So there's a lot of things to be um, praised for Ubisoft, and also is one of the sponsors and the growing supporters of the RGDA in Romania. So moving on to the panel. I will let you guys introduce a bit yourselves in like a few short words. Who wants to start? Taewon, you are maybe our guest, special guest. Can you go first?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Taewon Yoon. I'm working for Super Evil Megacorp, a cross-platform studio based in beautiful Northern California, USA. I myself originally from South Korea, and I'm actually one of the first generation of Korean game developer. Spent around 25, 27 years in gaming, starting from online text mod, and I work for like quite a few different companies, including Blizzard, EA, Wargaming, and now I'm trying to like continue my world domination plan with Super Evil Megaco. Really honored to be here.
All right. Solo?
Yeah. I'm Ionut Gabriel Solomon, creative director for Amber. I mean, I'm not as, let's say, experienced as Taewon is with multiple companies. My only experience has been inside Ubisoft, as you said, to which I'm very thankful for forming me. And since 2014, I'm working for Amber in a much more mobile sector of the market. I'm very happy to be here. And now you're like next units, the other units in the call.
Thank you. So I'm Ionut. I'm a producer at Ubisoft Bucharest. I won't talk about Ubisoft in general, as Dan was saying. It has a lot of history here in Romania. A few words about me. Before joining Ubisoft around 8 years ago, I worked with Namco and with Vivendi, other companies that have Ubisoft to thank for starting in Romania. And yeah, glad to be here with you today.
All right. I'm Dan Teodorescu. I'm from Bucharest. Always been working here. Started with a small company called Han Labs, which actually trained a lot of people in the industry. Then Gameloft for a lot of years as a designer, producer. Then Electronic Arts as a senior producer and studio director. And now I went indie, and we have a mobile game development company called Metagame Studios here in Bucharest. Okay, so this is about us. So the topic of the panel is innovation, and we said we'd first talk a bit about the is some of the topics that people talk about a lot, and kind of go a bit through them and see what you think. Are they actual true innovation here to stay, or are they just a buzzword? So I will suggest a few of them, and then let's see what you think. So I think it is a more easy one. Blockchain gaming. What do you think? Buzzword here to stay.
buzzword.
Definitely
who
a buzzword. We
I
we
think that
just
we
talk.
need some sequence.
All right, so buzzword.
Well,
It seems we
we,
agree. Like let's find an interesting one where we don't agree. Cloud gaming. What do you think about cloud gaming?
I think
Taewon,
it's here to stay.
do you want to go?
Okay.
Oh,
I
cloud gaming definitely is a like I think a long term trend that's going to be here and stay. Just as a Solo was trying to say, but technology is there, I think, and then the global network still needs to go somewhere more. But what is more important now is that more of the execution from platform holders rather than technology or like business model and whatnot. Solo.
I just said it's a trend, and I agree with you. I think that we need to advance in our internet speed and all that in order to fully embrace cloud gaming and make it available to every home on this earth.
I'd say if we have a snapshot today, it's not something that is actually there yet. The technology is almost there. The adoption is almost there, but it's still not something that can be widely adopted. So I'm expecting, like on the long term, let's say 2-3 years, to actually have a more robust offer and having people actually do cloud gaming. But now, like as of today, I would say it's still just a buzzword.
Okay, so are there any platforms that you would suggest that we check out? Like, since it's a trend, which ones are the ones that we should be looking at actually?
I think that in terms of platform, the key requirement of becoming a cloud gaming platform is less of the like sub technology, but more of the like how you can have access to the internet close to people. So in that regard, I think that there are only 3 companies who can do that. Like Amazon, definitely, Google, and Microsoft. Ironically, they are actually all the like 3 parties who are trying to build a cloud system. At the same time, they are the 3 competitors to become like the cloud gaming. And then I don't think anyone will give up becoming the dominant player in cloud gaming, because cloud gaming is not only a cloud gaming for those companies, it also be a key component of their global domination over cloud itself. So.
Now, if we look at things not only from a user perspective but also from a developer perspective, I really want to see how their offering evolves, like in the following years for developers. It's not as simple as just saying now we have cloud gaming and all the games can come to our platform. It's also about the experience of developing for that cloud gaming or adapting your game for a specific platform. And in this regard, working with these guys is really a learning experience. It's basically a new era of consuming the content. And I think this is something that we as developers also need to look at when we choose cloud gaming, or when we try to predict what cloud gaming will be in a few years from now. Because it's also about the content, not just about the tech, not just about your internet connection, and so on.
Makes sense. I will also be curious to see. So it seems to be a trend. Tech will grow. Hopefully, we get a lot of as developers of support. I'll be very curious to see what that does to the play patterns. Like when mobiles became big, they actually generated a lot of change in how we play. Free to play came also as well, and we play differently on mobile than we do on PC than we do on console. I'm actually quite curious to see the games that are going to come in cloud and how that's going to change how we interact with them. I assume we're going to play a bit differently there, and maybe a bit of a few different types of games as well. So let's move on to another one. Augmented reality or virtual reality.
I think that the VR, between the VR and AR, VR is definitely a fad. I don't see any becomes a mass market simply because of the UI UX it needs to have. It cannot see outside. But AR, I do think it has a potential, but I don't see any technology that can reduce the friction for AR technology right now. So that's why I think that it may be a long-term trend, but right now I think it is a more of a fad that they need to prove the technology first. That's my opinion.
I think VR definitely a buzzword. You cannot have it in your living room and fully enjoy it, at least without your eardrums like feeling making you feel nauseous and all that. I do feel though that it can be possible, not in the COVID days, at malls and these like huge setups that can allow you to move and to, let's say, truly experience something new with a headset on. But right now, I don't feel it uh, other than being a buzzword, and that's it. And for AR, there were like some games that made a huge blip with AR on the market, like Pokemon Go. But I would still want to see a game that embeds it like everywhere, so it's not something that feels like gimmicky, but it's like a central part of the experience in itself. So that's what I would also say it's a buzzword, at least for gaming.
If we were to like follow the the round, I can also take this one. For me, both of them are kind of buzzwords, at least for gaming. Like AR is a big thing, and I do expect AR to become a big thing for a lot of industries. So many industries are already using it with kind of good success, and we see more and more industries integrating, like IKEA is integrating it a lot to see how your living room will look like. When we look at Google, they also have like the AR for bringing animals in your living room and like, play with your kids and so on. So I do see it expanding a lot in terms of other industries, but for gaming, aside from some gimmicky stuff, I don't see it evolving in the following years. And VR is not dead, but not alive either. It's on life support since a few years now. So we just need to like see if there's a breakthrough there.
Okay, artificial intelligence. Do you see anything coming interesting for games from there?
I think that AI actually is really, really interesting subject for me. I'm like investing a lot of time, kind of like looking into what's possible there. Right now, like I think the thing is that you cannot tell AI as a like one trend, because there are a lot of different area that you can like apply the technology. And right now, I'm specifically interested in like what it can be done through the the procedurally generating content side of things. So I'm doing a small experiment, and then apart from that, there are a lot more different application of AI technology to gaming, especially game design. And I do think that it is like fed of like it doesn't like create completely different experience, but I think it is technology that enhance what we have in game design and how to build the game. That's how I view AI.
Yeah. So definitely not a buzzword. I've seen lots of companies trying to like go beyond what the traditional 90s AI did. I try to make them like smarter, try to make them like feel more human, try to make them like act and have voice and everything. That's on the, let's say, what you see, what you perceive. And on the rational aspect, I was like dreaming since the days I was working for Ubisoft for an AI that could, learn, that could replicate players' actions, that could, do lots of things that, as Taewon said, enrich the experience that you're already having from a, let's say, rational standpoint rather than a perceptional one.
For me, when people say AI, I mostly think about machine learning and how we can actually use all the data that we have. We've been investing quite a lot in AI lately in UB. But a lot of things are just behind the curtains, right? We're investing a lot in using machine learning for better development pipelines, for better analytics, and like real time. When we talk about design, like real time adaptation of the game to the player. When it comes to actually having a really smart AI, I would agree that we're still to find that great NPC that can just disrupt the way you think.
I would certainly look forward to that. But that goes also into the procedural generation of content as well, I would say. Yeah. So other cool ideas that I've heard were around in open world games, just generating special quests for players based on what they would want to, what their play patterns are. So I think that is definitely something that we will see more of, the procedural generation. So far we have. So we have a couple that we think are buzzwords, and a couple that we think are trends. The AI and the cloud gaming are definitely here to stay. That's like we decided. I hope everybody in the industry is watching this panel and will cut all funding from the things that we said are buzzwords, and heavily invest in the. It's a definitive conclusion for the industry. What we've done here, so it's done. We're ready to move to the next subject, which is closer to maybe the process or the way of doing things. So let's talk about innovation in. This is something that people are asking a lot when you talk about innovation. Is like practically what would you do? Everybody talks about innovation. Everybody is saying like they want to generate something innovative, but people are asking. So practically, what are you doing in order to create something innovative? And this is maybe where we could share a bit of what the panel can do, share a bit of our personal experience with innovation, right? So I'll start with a question for you, which is there something that you're currently doing right now? You can give us an example of something that you're doing right now, which is innovative or fosters innovation and could inspire the people who are watching us.
Starting with me.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to be that you're the one who has the most initiative as well.
Well, I think that I actually don't think too much about innovation. Like if you ask me, I don't really know. Like it can be done everywhere. But one thing I know about me and the team I work with all the time is that I really hate to do something someone has already done before, right? Because it is repetitive. It's not fun, and then I get bored easily. So I like to do something like different, right? And also if everyone is saying this is a trend, I would like to say, hey, if 90% of people are doing that, like I'd rather be 10% who like everyone else is not doing, and then let's see what's out there. So sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it like it fails miserably, and then I have a couple like really amazing success with the like World of Warcraft Dev Blizzard as an example. Well, Tank was good as well. So that's how I try to think. But is it always lead to innovation? I don't know.
But do you consider like an incremental improvement? Do you consider that an innovation, or is it like for innovation it's just it has to be radically different?
Yeah, really amazing question. So there are incremental, I call it incremental improvement and the boundary pushing innovation, right? I do think that it is a little bit different from each other, because incremental improvement is done by, actually it can be done easily. Like it's not easy, sorry, like it's not easy to do, but it can be done. It has a formula. You can do the like market research. You can do like a lot of the like applying already existing thing to improve something already exists. When you try to do something like disruptive, that is like there's no formula I can think of at all. That's why it is actually more fun, because like you don't know what you are doing actually. To me, improvement is something that you are trying to do, becoming better by practicing and doing like things a little bit better. Innovation is like trying out something new, like you are explorer, right? So a lot of time you fail, but surely it's fun to do. The same reason as I'm in game industry is this industry is fun. That's why I'm here. And then like innovation, like something trying to do something new is also a fun experience, right? So that's my thing. Like luckily, like I don't get fired in my experience by trying to do something new so far. So I think it's a good thing.
I mean, in line with what Taewon said, in order to innovate, you have to have that safety of your like workplace, the safety of being able to fail and learn from your failures, and then if let's say you would do a mistake like Taewon said, I wouldn't actually fire that guy, unless he's like a total jerk and he's going to repeat that action over and over again. But otherwise, I'm going to look how much it cost us, and that's a training for him. So I wouldn't fire him. He just he just went to a training, learned some lessons, and he's like ready, up and running to try again until it will succeed at some point. And that's I think that speaks about cultural mindset, what people in the organization top to bottom thinks about people who care, who experiment, who try to do things differently on a daily basis, and maybe at some point they discover something new or something that worth further investment and further development.
Yeah, jumping in, I'd start by saying there's a generic question. There's a generic answer to this question, but then there's like practical stuff. Generic answer, yes, I can say basically what are we doing to foster innovation is keeping an open mind, right? In Ubi, we have usually a very big team, like hundreds of people. So this gives us a wide pool of ideas, a wide pool of creative minds that can actually foster innovation. Or like if we were to think about how we look at evolution, you would say we have a wide number of people that can evolve, right, or that can innovate. So what we're doing is we keep an open mind and we don't dismiss ideas that are actually against what we're doing at the moment. We don't dismiss ideas that combine elements that wouldn't fit together usually, or that are crazy, let's say, to begin with. We look at them and like more than 99% of the time, they're just crazy ideas and that's it. But then 1 in 1,000 maybe will be something that will disrupt the way we work, or the way we tackle game design, or even the way we look at the product. Moving to a more concrete example, I take the example of Watch Dogs Legion, where basically we started with a game that was supposed to be different than any other game. Just go having any NPC become a playable character. If you watched earlier this morning, Liv, you had a talk about taking the N out of the NPC, or how we internally call the thing. There, we actually had to like burn bridges and say, okay, in order to do this advancement, to take this leap from like a fixed number of characters to having any NPC become your playable character and have your cinematics with any of NPC and have a AAA realization at the level expected by the market with this innovation in mind. Basically, we had to change everything, like the way we work, the way we do recordings, the way we do voices, the way we do cinematics, the way we actually design every bit of the game. Because you don't have like progression. How do you do progression in any of your game elements when you have a wide range of characters? So that's where basically innovation came in on every aspect of the game. After we burned the bridge and we said, yeah, it needs to fit in this crazy context. And now, like, innovate. And it was innovation by need, basically.
Okay, and that's quite interesting, the way that you start with an idea and then you start to you make a small change and then or a bigger one, and then start to explore all the consequences that come to that and solve them. And I'm assuming you end up with a pretty different experience at the end. So going to a wider question, where do you think innovation comes from? And also we can also discuss, like, if you're tasked to create like an innovative project or feature or game in your organization, what would you do in order to make it happen? I think you're muted.
Taewon is muted.
Okay. So I think that the question is a little bit wrong here, because how do you know that where the innovation comes from? It can be anywhere, like from anyone, anytime. You just need to like pay attention to. And then also the it is actually, it feels weird. Doesn't feel right. Like if someone asks me to hey, your job now is to create an innovative project in the company, unlike any other boring stuff that other people are doing. I probably that the right reaction of mine probably like, hey, I'm quitting or resigning. Probably the right way of react to that. But with that said, like the way
that's actually a great sales pitch for your company. Like the fact that you have that environment, you can feel like that. Yeah, good one.
Right. So the practically. What was the most interesting to me is that the so I have worked with I lucky enough to work with really great people in the past, and when I have them put them in one place in a like conference room, without anything else, and then just have them stay there 1 hour and then throw in some Play-Doh, and then lock the door.
No food.
And then I
just Play-Doh.
No food, just Play-Doh, right? So it has to be something that they shouldn't be able to do anything else other than they gotta be really bored and then have a really limited play with. And then after an hour, I come back and open the door and ask them, hey, I'm what do you guys do? And then they were like, yeah, we got bored, so we came up with this idea. That usually quite interesting idea that comes out of that session. So product-wise, I don't know what is it, the project itself, but I think that the one plus that the shines the most when you actually has a restricted in a way that you cannot you have a very limited way of doing things that actually like burst your creativity quite a lot. So I know it's not a real answer here, but I don't know how to innovate. So
Yeah. If you want, I can give you an even more real answer to the question. Like the way I see things is you cannot force innovation. Like you can maybe foster it, have a good environment to like let ideas flow and so on. But I don't think saying we need to innovate on this front and then just putting people in a room will get it going. It's more like having the right people. Like as you were saying earlier, you don't like to copy, you like to create new stuff, right? In our environment, in our industry, we interact with people that are more like creators and innovators at heart, and then we have people that are like very, very good at pushing those ideas and making them happen, and like pushing that vision inside a thing that you can put your hand on. So I think it's just a matter of working with those people that are just not happy with the status quo, and something will happen at the right moment. How's that for a non-answer?
I can actually add one thing here. I just realized that you are absolutely right here. I think that the problem we have in gaming, I don't think as an industry we don't have problem with innovation, because there are like industries are full of people with great ideas. The problem is rather with the how to identify and nurture and like grow the right idea at right time. Like zeitgeist is important, technology is important. A lot of times there is great idea, but like technology might not be there. VL AR is a good example. So the ideas are always there. Figuring out like, okay, if this idea is a like have a time and place right now in this environment or like generation or whatnot. So like I guess the like identifying and nurturing is actually a bigger like issue and problem that we need to talk about. Or then like, hey, how can we become like innovative? Because like maybe every one of us, hopefully including myself, could have a lot of good ideas. And then at the end of the day, it may be the case of the like identifying and then the nurturing and execution is the like real problem that we need to solve.
I jump in a little bit tied to what you're saying, because I actually have a pretty strong opinion here. I think for what you were calling earlier incremental improvements, those, like, you take this genre and then you maybe combine it with a different metagame, and then you get something new just by going by the numbers. You will that one is easier to do, but like to get to something truly different, I think that is quite personal, and I think it comes from in the intuition of somebody's intuition. Maybe that idea needs some time to to grow, to cultivate it, just to until it's ready to go out. And it's very hard that somebody is gonna say be innovative now, search for something truly innovative now. You're gonna be in that. Many times I think it takes weeks, months, maybe years until somebody comes with a good idea. And I think in the indies sometimes it's easier for the smaller games for that to happen, because it's small teams. You don't have to sell the idea that much, so that's why maybe indie games can have more of that variation. In a corporate environment or in a bigger environment, you need a mentor, need somebody who is willing to or sponsor would be even better. Someone who's willing to take that idea and invest in it, and maybe see it take the chance that it fails. And you also need other skills for that to happen, like being able to sell that idea, put it in the right words, and doing all that. But I actually think that innovation, like having an idea, especially that in the terms of design, sometimes in the business models as well, it is quite personal, because it comes from somebody's intuition, and it takes time for that to happen.
Yeah. I just add one thing to this: incremental increases versus something disruptive, and it's something that everyone is using it. Most likely, if you just improve your bicycle, you will never end up having a motorcycle. So, in the end, you need to think about things a little bit different.
Well, at the same time, I actually wouldn't disregard the idea of, like, you don't know yet, right? Like, you may be able to iterate your bicycle infinitely to come up with a motorcycle. It may happen.
that's innovation. That's not basically implementation.
Again, the like what I'm trying to say is that innovation actually comes from can come from anywhere, including incremental improvement. It's just that the focusing entirely upon incremental improvement is not a good way.
Like to be honest, to me, sometimes like in the context of what can I take from this discussion, right, and then apply. Probably incremental improvements and innovation through incremental improvements or doing that is maybe more applicable to when I go back to work than like the absolute true like a completely new thing, because that so many times is a it can be a black swan, right? It's very hard to reproduce. But that could be an interesting topic as well. How do you get how do you get into to come up with a game like that, or with a technology like that, or a business model like that is completely new.
Yeah, I haven't said much on the question. Wow. And suddenly two people interrupt me. Oh, I'm going to speak up anyway. I think that, for the innovation to happen, I don't think it's only about the idea, right? There is this meme, like, I have a great game idea, so I'm looking for a programmer so we can split the profits, which is like a meme. It's not only about the idea. It's about what idea do you have, how applicable it is, how how easy it is for it to, like, how viable that idea is. Because great ideas, we can have a beer and probably write up 500 pages of great ideas, right? But out of them, I think maybe 499 would be like failures, or those increments in let's make whatever it is that we're supposed to make. What I want to say is that it usually comes from passionate people who love a subject. They love a game, but they would see it like pushed beyond what it currently is. It's not that the DayZ was bad, that people started iterating on it, and offshoot some games like PUBG and Fortnite and whatnot. It wasn't because Arma was bad. Arma was good. It spawned DayZ. DayZ wasn't bad. DayZ was good, and it spawned some other things that we can call like disruptive right now. So it is because somebody in his free time had a belief that game can be like brought even further than what it could, and gather some people around. They probably brainstormed. It wasn't a single guy. There is never about a single. You're not a one-man army. You're a team that you're trying to innovate with, and maybe you don't have let's say 100% of the idea. you say something and then somebody picks it up and adds on top of what you say, and that's how collaboration happens, and that's how great things are done. It's never one man.
But I would like to make here
one man
like a
done.
difference. I still think it should be personal. If it's a feature, if it's a game, if it's something that you want to try, I think somebody has to take that that I don't know energy, that conviction, and say this is how we should do it, and then we collaborate. But
Yeah,
for that idea, for that hint of intuition, that somebody has to push to make that push. And put that
exactly.
passion and make it happen. So and it happens in any environment, in the corporate, anything, anywhere.
Yep.
All right, are you ready
Yeah,
to?
I agree with
So we
that.
solved this one. Go, Taewon.
No, I said like I agree with you on that. Like it is personal, right?
Good. So we're getting to the boring part of the panel where we agree. So I think we should move on, because then the
Right.
we solved that as well. Now everybody who watched know how to be innovative, and how to generate innovative games. So as you can see, it's the most valuable part of the conference. So let's move on a bit to a design topic, and it's very interesting what you said, Solo, about the iterative games that generated something special after many iterations, which you were saying about Arma and Daisy, and I wanted to ask, like, lately we've seen games like Fall Guys, or Among Us have, in some situation, like I would say, unexpected success, and they went very viral. Um, what do you think about that, and what do you think? How much innovation did you think was needed in to generate this?
Well, so the Fall Guys, like Among Us, like it is certainly a like really interesting innovation. It's a new thing that came out of nowhere. But if you think about it, all the like genre defining product came out in that way. Again, it is like difference between the like incremental improvement and then the like something different in innovative product. Seeds are always, I do think that the seed for Fall Guys or Among Us has been there all the time. It is essentially like offline party game, and then they cleverly executed to become a like online massively multiplayer video games. And then it meet with the like the current environment as a zeitgeist, right? So that's how they become big. And then like some may have tried like same or similar in the past, but they didn't like fully polish it and like execute it correctly to become Fall Guys or Among Us. So it is a like again the finding a seed, execute correctly, and then it is in the right timing. So that's how I see those two games, and then that's what I hope our next game will be as well.
Which one?
Okay,
Should it be like Fall Guys that has instant success, or should it be like Among Us, which like stays there for 2 years and all of a sudden has a lot of success? Which one would you like to be? I'm kidding.
Oh,
Don't
like
answer
you
that.
you never know, right? So one of the like biggest success of today is Roblox, and then you may think Roblox is a like instant success. It was released in 2006. It is a 14-year-old product, right? So sometimes, like some may look like a like innovative product that comes out of nowhere, but a lot of times it actually went through a lot of iteration before it actually fully mature. in my one of my company previous like employer, Blizzard Entertainment, they usually take 10 years of time. They spend 10 years to cook and fully develop a game. Diablo 3 took 10 years. StarCraft 2 actually took more than 13 years to build a game. It actually was not like proud situation in Blizzard, because like it ended up where it has become a like people think that as a like natural, so that like they have to sit on a project like as long as they can before they release it. But you know, that was sort of like effort Blizzard put in to kind of like perfect a game. It's just that like Fall Guys and Among Us, Roblox happened outside the context of a company.
From my own perspective, yeah. If you were in the agency biz dev side of things, you'd be like surprised how many times I've seen maybe battle royale this or that, everything battle royale with cooking, battle royale with anything that flies under the sun, and you know, everybody was chasing that because it was a wave that was, you know, trending. Thanks Fortnite for that. But what I think Fall Guys did is that they took away all the shooting, all the, you know, building things, all the camera controls and whatnot. They've kept the silly characters that, if you are familiar with like Gang Beasts, they resemble a lot. They're like humorous just to look at. So, and they added that flavor of the Japanese shows in which you will see people try out different things, obstacle courses, and then fail miserably, and you would have the laugh of that. And that makes the content, it makes it like viewable. You enjoy watching it. You enjoy, and you can like tell stories about it. So if everybody is like talking about Fall Guys here and there, Reddit, you know, it's everywhere. It's naturally that it's popular for you, and you don't wanna, you know, miss the popular thing. There's like a new arcade at the mall. Don't you want to try it? Right? Everybody wants to try it. That's for Fall Guys. So I think they were like, I don't think there is like luck. You know, it's by chance that it has the success that it has. I think they took very calculated steps in achieving the success that they have right now. As for Among Us, the same. The recipe was there. If you look at the game itself, it's a social, let's say, perception, deduction, and persuasion game in which you are like role playing. And hey, we have that. It was like werewolf, but how can like people play werewolf nowadays, right? You can't. You cannot get together, and of course, it's like tedious. You have to keep track of this of the state of the game. So you need a narrator and whatnot. So the game does just that, and they included the movement mechanic because, you know, werewolf was boring at nights and everything. You play for like 3 hours and nothing was happening, but that's how they innovated, and I think they did like brilliant. And it's not the single game that took werewolf to the online space. Years ago, Town of Salem was like a great installment of werewolf for, you know, online play, in which you could exert your like persuasion and deception skills. But what Among Us did, it was I think it was a happy situation with COVID, that, you know, we could no longer get out, and it's somewhat, you know, so, you know, 2 years after it was launched, it became like this. Everywhere you look, AOC plays it, Twitch goes crazy about it, and so I think that again it was a recipe that, you know, went for years. Werewolf the game, I think it's gonna still be played, or Mafia, or you name how many versions of it there are. It was just the right time for that to happen, and I'm like very eager to see how more persuasion, deception games in which you exercit your social skill are going to come based on the success of Among Us.
I just add a couple of things. First, what's interesting is that you mentioned two games that look exactly the same as they were pitched. So even though it took like 2 to 4 years to become famous and to have like popular success, the games looked the same. It was just a matter of polishing the experience, polishing the art direction, the movement design, and so on, until it reached a moment where it was ready to actually like boom. But it is the same. So basically, it was an idea. If we, let's take Fall Guys for example, they had the idea to do a battle royale with these crazy environmental elements. This was the pitch. Maybe if you follow Jeff Stanton's Twitch, he basically went through the whole thing and said, yeah, we had this crazy idea. Someone pitched me a battle royale in a very crowded market. And we said, in the end, why not? Because it was a really good pitch. And it ended up being the exact same product that was pitched the same as Among Us. So if we were to look from an innovation perspective, I'd say these are one of the happy ideas that actually are there from the beginning. They don't evolve; they just get polished to the point where they boom.
Nicely said. So we have Katalin here with us, so that means it's time for Q&A.
Discussion, guys. Yes, we are getting close to the end of the session. Just want to take 5 minutes
But we were just getting started.
Well, you can always continue on Discord. So there's always that possibility.
Can't we innovate on this meeting? Come on.
So here's one. So fostering innovation is key, but we also have to aim these innovation efforts against market trends / standards. That means that there is a small area left for true innovation. How do you see this evolving in the next years in the gaming industry? Who wants to tackle that?
Can you please repeat the question?
There's a small area. Okay.
Well,
just repeat the question, then we see who takes it.
Is that the question about the business model? Could you repeat?
So I'm not the person who asked, but the way that I would interpret this is, does true and revolution type of innovation has to be tempered by current existing market standards? Is it because sometimes it can be extremely risky to go completely wild, and you have to innovate step by step. So do you see this changing significantly in the future?
Well, okay. Let me tackle that first. I don't think that there is any difference there. We talked about there are a lot of the ideas already out there, and then I believe that they're 70%. What you can do is just make sure that that whatever you do is polish it, fun to play at 70%, and then the 30%, and then 10%, make sure that it seems to be rather not too bad for market, and then there is a 20-30% of your luck, right? If you are working on a new innovative product, is that you don't really know. You cannot know by definition. You don't know if your product will be a fit with the market, because no matter how much market research you do, because it will come back to you and say, hey, there's no market because that product didn't exist before.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to do a truly innovative product, that is gotta be something that sometimes you have to go against the market. If you are doing improvement, then yes, surely market research you that this is the right fit or not.
There is this famous quote of I guess Henry Ford. If I would ask the people what they want, they would have said faster horses, and they wanted to sell them cars, right? So that's how,
That's a good point.
you're not
That's a nice
always,
Mm.
yeah.
And another quick
It also
one.
depends where you are, right? So if you're in junior position in a corporate environment, then what you can influence is the stuff that you're working on, and then maybe pitch an idea further on. If you're an investor, that actually then you're in a situation, in a position where you can invest, take risks. That's what many
Good
of them
point.
are doing as well. So it's good to think about it in general, but also put it into perspective, right? I'm an indie game, then I will really have to look at creating a business as well, because otherwise I'm gonna be bankrupt. I'm an investor; it's something different. I'm in a junior position that's completely different. So the amount of how much you can innovate will depend based on where you are and who you are.
Okay, so one last question very quickly, 1 minute answer. Is it, so is, I think this year alone we've seen like 2, viral hits. If we look at Fall Guys and Among Us. Is this kind of thing happening faster or more often? Do you feel that? Or, it's just a coincidence? How do you feel about that?
I think it's a bit different
think
in that like people start to understand and create games for streamers. They start to understand how to use these environments, and we see people use that as well. So I think it's a lot a part of that as well. Go Taewon.
No, I mean, like, there is no like trend or coincidence in terms of like doing a like new innovation, new games comes out. So the like I think that it is just that the like how things are. You have to see the how water flows. If you want to do a innovation, how many innovation has done before, it doesn't matter. And then you cannot predict how many innovation is going to happen over the next few years. You cannot do that either. So if you want to do a innovative product, just do what you like to do. Is the only advice I can give, I guess.
That's a great message to end the session with. Thank you, guys, for the thought-provoking discussion, and hope to see you again in person or online, whatever works, in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
And then be innovative next year, so that give us a like full day conversation.
I will keep that in mind.
No, you do that. You do that, and we just discuss about your game.
Thanks, guys.